Hi there. My name is Amy Rasmussen Waluk, owner and operator of Four Directions Center for Social Health in the Interlake in Manitoba. I'm just going to spend a little bit of time today talking about youth, anxiety, depression, and overall mental health as the pandemic trudges along here. I'm a mother, first of all, of two teenagers, 13 and 14-year-old boys, and a stepmother to a 14-year-old girl as well. So not only are we seeing the impacts at home in our community, but also in my role as a mental health therapist, serving primarily children and youth in the Interlake area. So as the pandemic is really, moving along, coming at such a speed, there's still so much uncertainty. We have to start really, paying attention to the cumulative effects that our children are holding, and especially our youth right now. When I'm checking in with children, younger kids, they seem to be the most impacted by fear, anxiety, and all those kind of trauma leftovers, with all that uncertainty. This is a big scary something. The adults are afraid. This is bad news for everybody. But now that time is going on, the children seem to they're so resilient, the younger kids, and they seem to really adapt, and trust, and okay, well, we're doing this at home and we get to do this, and the virus, I don't know, it just kind of, is another part of life. But our teens seem to be the ones really, really impacted, as time goes on here. So from a therapeutic standpoint, first of all, it's really important to check in with them on a regular basis, even when that's not what it seems like they're wanting. So even setting a time in our household, that's kind of Sunday evening before the new week, how are you doing, how's this sitting with you, so they kind of know that time's coming. And I'm not going to be bothering them, throughout the week, or, what's going on, what's wrong, because they don't like that at all. Maybe it's different for your kids, but I know for mine, and even in a therapeutic way, in the office, it's good to have that consistency and predictability, first of all, of when we're checking in. So kind of just looking at when would be a good time for you and your family to check in. And that checking in would be, hey, this, and be very specific with language. So the pandemic, the COVID-19 is, how is it sitting with you? What's the toughest of it for you this week? If you could say something to it, what would you need to say? What do you need, to be most okay here? So that's what we need to find out from them is first of all, how it's living inside. What's it like in here? What's it like in your gut? What are the impacts that you're noticing, and what are those impacts that you can kind of live with, and what are the impacts that are really tough to live with? That's really important in checking in with our youth, so it's not compiling, that anxiety, stress, depressive kind of feelings, and hopelessness is not compiling inside of them, causing a really big reaction. So the other part to think about is that youth are still very impulsive, right? We have that impulse control is still developing and growing. So if we can avoid, youth getting at a place where, this is just way too much to hold, and I don't even want to live, then we need to do everything in our power to prevent that from happening. And building in that self-awareness for how they're doing is key, to being able to preventing the too much of it. So by checking in frequently, consistently, regularly, what we're doing is really teaching our kids to be able to check in with themselves regularly and then notice how they're doing, because so often their lives are fast and busy, and to stop and, wow, this is what I'm holding, and this is the worst of it. So that second would be to really keep our own assumptions, our own experiences out of these conversations. If our children ask, then by all means, there's opportunity to be open and have dialogue. But if they don't, they're carrying enough of their own stuff, and they really don't need ours on top of that. So being able to say, okay, let's let's just sit with your stuff for a little bit. What's it like for you? You know, where's it sitting in your stomach? You know, is it more up in your chest? Just kind of notice, just check in. And what's it like in there? You know, is it heavy? Is it prickly? Is it moving? Is it something? Just getting that physiological sense of it, you know, will help them to be able to not only check in, but then start that regulation process. And then secondly would be to be curious, you know, like I can't even imagine what that's like for you, because we can't, you know, I can't even imagine what that's like for you to be holding all of that right now. And I'm just so curious, you know, what's just the toughest of it for you right now? So by saying right now, again, we're really framing. We're not looking, you know, even a week ahead. We're not looking tomorrow, yesterday. We're looking at right now, you know, what's just the toughest of that for you. And you might be really surprised, you know, by what they have to say there. So just keeping that curiosity, that openness, keeping our own reaction out of it. You know, the worst of it might be, you know, my sports are stopped. Oh, I can't see my girlfriend, you know. Oh, it just seems endless. I don't like wearing masks outside, you know, whatever it might be. Yeah, and just validate. Yeah, that is really tough. That is just way too much, you know, to have to wear masks all the time and feel restricted in those ways. So we're not trying to fix, we're not trying to challenge, we're not trying to change anything. The purpose of this is just to really listen and validate, so that anything that's sitting, that's stuck, can start to kind of move. Because as soon as something's validated, it can kind of do what it needs to do in the body, which will ultimately help, you know, the mind, the emotions, and the spirit. And then lastly, you know, just kind of then asking, you know, and for you to be most okay right now with everything that's going on, knowing we can't change this pandemic as much as we want to. We can't change anything about these health regulations, you know. So for you to be most okay in that, you know, what do you need there? Is there anything I can help you with? So first of all, checking what they need. You know, what is it that you need to be most okay? So again, not fixing, not changing, no magic wand, just to be most okay in a crappy situation, really. So what is it that you need to be most okay? And just sitting and waiting for them to, you know, be able to explore that and even consider that, right? Because so much is focused on following rules and being safe and being well, but there's not a lot of room to explore, you know, what do I need if I were to be most okay in this? What is it that I need? So really encouraging, you know, you to spend, just allowing a lot of space and time for that to come. Because the more the youth can that can come from themselves, the more sustainable and effective this is going to be. And I have 2 boys right now that are in the I don't know, nothing. So that's something. Isn't that interesting that you know, you can't consider anything that would make it most okay. Wow, you know, and just being with that, and then silence, and then usually there's something that comes. Oh well, you know, can we maybe go for a drive on Thursday? Whatever. Yeah, that's something we can do. So again, what do you need to be most okay? And then if there's really nothing, if there's really that despair, if there's really that shutdown, then asking, and you know, and is there anything that I can do to make this a little bit more okay for you? Anything that you need from your family, from your community, from your friends, from your supports, because we really are all in this together, you know. So we get it on our own level, but we also care about you, is the message there. So what is it that, first of all, you need yourself, and then what is it that, you know, we can provide you, we can give you to make it more okay there. So that's kind of what I've been working with the youth in a therapeutic way that come to sit with me, and also, you know, my own children at home, and it's really being felt in a collective way with youth, just in conversations with them and their friends and in the schools. I know we're really feeling it. So this would be a really good time to check in with our youth in particular, again, so that that consistency, that regular, that predictability. This is the time we're going to sit down and, just even spend 5 minutes checking in. Of course, giving the youth opportunity to say, no, I just don't want to check in right now. Okay, then when would be a better time, right? So there's that little bit of commitment there, because it's very important. So not only, again, does that help with that self-regulation, but then it just encourages that regular knowing that, somebody's there and is going to be checking in with me. Second would be exploring exactly how it is for them. So again, that's just checking in. What's it like in your body? What's it like in your gut about COVID right now? What's it like up in your chest? Oh, it's like that. And again, not challenging, not changing, not bringing any of our own stuff in, just really, wow, that's what that's like. It's like a prickly something up in your chest. Wow. And really validating. And what's that like? What's that like to carry all that? And just waiting for that. And then once we know how it's living inside, we get really curious, right? And what's the worst of it for you right now? I can't even imagine. So just going a little bit deeper and helping with that exploration. And then after that, when we can be curious, we validate. Again, we leave any of our own stories, our own experiences out of the room for that, to really be there with our youth. Then we get even more curious and ask them first of all, and what do you need? What can you do? To make it a little bit more okay for yourself there. So again, not changing any of the situation, not adjusting any of the reality, but just saying, okay, so bringing that empowerment back to the young person, even with their impulsivity and even with the behaviors that come out. So what is it that you need to just be a little bit more okay right now? And waiting and validating and waiting and validating. And then when we get to that point, even if there is something, that's great, and if there isn't something, either way, then we check, and is there anything that I can do to make it more okay for you in this situation? Anything you need from your family, your supports, your friends, your teachers, your community, to just make it a little bit more okay for you. And this is probably going to align specifically with kind of what's the worst of it for them, but maybe not. So I wish you well with checking in with your youth. Please, if you have any questions and if I can be helpful in any way, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.